Bit Digital is a heavily undervalued Bitcoin miner. We've got the Bitcoin fees way up right now. We're getting so close to cracking $72,000 on Bitcoin. Ethereum is doing something interesting, and it's time once again to look at the US treasuries. So let's have a look at all of this stuff right now. Remember, we have the merch shop open now over on Etsy. The link is in the description as well as on our YouTube channel page. You can see we've got the 4 different shirts available right now. I am working on getting more out there. Go ahead and check out our merch store now. Let's go. All right, we're here on Mempool, and this yesterday was actually, I looked at this yesterday and it was at $6. So this morning it's at $31 for high priority, $31 for medium priority, and $30 for low priority. No priority is $2.80. This is huge. If you remember, just a short while ago, these numbers were under $1 even for the high priority. So this is getting out of hand. This is getting crazy. This is pure profit for the Bitcoin miners. So we should be seeing those surge here off of all this inflowing money for the Bitcoin network. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin doing? All right, Bitcoin is just kind of hanging out here, like I said, between $70,000 and $72,000. It's been doing it for a couple of days now. It continues to do it. We have a good looking volume oscillator. It's still crawling up. The RSI is not overbought quite yet. Not that it matters particularly for Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not really concern itself with an overbought or honestly oversold RSI, but it is something that I am watching for momentum's sake. It is staying elevated. Now we did come right up and knocked right on the door of 72,000. We came right up to 71,936 before getting rejected. Remember, at $72,000, that's where a lot of shorts get liquidated. So there is a big fight to keep it under $72,000, at least until they can, get out of their positions. But I think that that's going to happen. I think they're going to get liquidated pretty bad pretty soon here now. And there is another ticker to put on your watch list here. If you are a degenerate and you want to take extra crazy leverage, that ticker is BITX. That is a 2x on Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin futures, I believe. And it's a 2x leverage on that. Now, the fun thing about these, which of course is not financial advice, not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever, is you can play options on these as well. So if you think that in the next 45 days we'll be making a new all-time high on Bitcoin, this will move from $48 potentially up over $60 in that amount of time, which would represent a percentage move of 23% on the shares, and on the options it's magnified even further than that. Now this is gambling. Of course it is absolutely very speculative and very dangerous, and you could very likely lose all of your money doing this, but it is out there, it exists, and it is something that you can look at if you've got money to burn, or if you're really convinced it's going to make that move and it's going to make it soon. I would urge you to thoroughly research what how far out you'll want to go and the strike price that you'd want to employ that at before making any moves on it. This one is dangerous, not going to sugarcoat it at all. It's very possible to lose money doing this, but it is out there. It's something that exists, and it is something I've been looking at as a potential, like once we get over 72,000, I'm thinking, yeah, it probably could, move up to 50, 556, maybe even higher than that on BitX, perhaps. I haven't done anything with this yet, by the way, and I don't know if I will or not. It would be a gamble. It would be something I would be like, it's either going to fly high or go to zero sort of situation. So that's BitX. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum is being very interesting right now. So this thing has been flagging since May 21st, just going sideways. And it is about to collide with the 20-day moving average. I think once it hits the 20, that we very likely could see this thing take off from there. It has been just holding its breath, waiting for the ETFs to start trading. It hasn't fallen, hasn't done anything. I think that it might hit the 20 and launch. Now, if it goes beneath the 20, obviously it could come all the way down to the 50, which is down at $3,300 now. So these two lines here, these don't matter anymore. Now 3,300 is kind of the floor here on it now. So I could actually get rid of this one. 3,300 is where I'd be looking at it if it comes under the 20. But if it does not come under the 20, like, and does not do so decisively, I would be looking for it to run all the way up to 4,000 and above from hitting the 20 on Ethereum. And that takes us to Bit Digital. All right, Bit Digital's up 0.7% today. The volume oscillator is still pointed in the right direction. RSI kind of has gone flat at 73 and has been there since the 4th of June, so it's been there all week, even though price has been crawling up. Now, this, I believe, is a heavily undervalued stock. Let's take a look at the May production and start talking about how I think this stock is undervalued. In the month of May, Bit Digital produced 63.3 Bitcoin, which was a 47% reduction from the month before and a 54-ish% reduction since March. So they dropped off a little further than some of their peers in terms of how much Bitcoin they are producing now. That is because their exahash was only operating at 2.5, even though they have a capacity over 4 right now. So that was interesting. Let me make sure it actually is a capacity over 4 right now, not higher than that. Let me see, where is it at? 4.2. So their total hash rate capacity is 4.2. They're operating at 2.5, and they're saying that that was a voluntary choice last month. They're probably doing some maintenance and some other things with their Bitcoin miners last month, which would be why the decrease was there for May. I think June will show us exactly, how much we can expect from them to produce each month consistently going forward, since April was significantly decreased in terms of how much exahash they had running last month. So now the other thing to point out is their AI revenue is at 4.2 million a month now, which takes them to $50.4 million in a year. They have fulfilled their contract. This is them executing on their plan. Now they do have that contract. It has doubled, so they will be pulling in 100 million a year as soon as they get those machines in and plugged in. This will double, but it shows that they can do this, and they're very good at this. They did this pretty fast. I'm pretty happy about that. And we're going to talk about that in a minute and how they're undervalued just based on this metric alone. So Bit Digital's got $4.2 million coming in every month, equaling about 50 million per year right now. That's going to double. All right, that's going to double. Very soon it's going to double. Now let's take a look at a pure AI play. That's APLD, Applied Digital. They do HPC computing. That's all that they do. And let's take a look at their cash flow, their revenue versus their market cap. So they made last quarter, Q1 2024, they made $36.3 million, which comes out to 12.1 per month. Okay, 12.1 per month. Now, Bit Digital does 4.2 per month, so I did 4.2 divided by 12.1 to get Bit Digital has a revenue per month, a monthly revenue of 34.7% of what Applied Digital is capable of. All right, okay. So apples to apples comparison, we look at Applied Digital, APLD, their market cap is $6.7 billion. Okay, what's 34% of $6.7 billion? And you have a market cap estimation of what Bit Digital should be just off of their AI business, and that's $232 million. Their current enterprise value is $340 million. So that currently makes up 68% of the valuation of their company. Now, the other thing that we're going to look at here now is that they've got a treasury of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So they have $70 million worth of Bitcoin, or about a little over 1,000 Bitcoin, and $77 million worth of Ethereum, totaling out to just over $147 million worth of digital assets. Okay, so what's this? Plus 147. We're just going to lowball it there. $379 million. So just their AI business and their raw Bitcoin and Ethereum alone is worth more than their entire market cap currently. In fact, of almost $40 million more than they currently are valued at. Now, if one, that AI business is going to, well, one, let's say Wall Street is supposed to be forward looking, which means that Bit Digital has executed on its 50 million, meaning 50 million a year in revenue from AI, their AI business, meaning that they're capable, it stands to reason that they will reach the other 50 million, which means that in fact, this 232.49 should be doubled in terms of what Wall Street should expect from them. So they should actually, just off their AI business alone, because since they have shown they can execute on it and Wall Street is supposed to be forward looking, they should be worth currently $465 million just off of their AI business. Now, let's take a look at their digital assets. So they've got $147 million worth of digital assets. 77 million of that being Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is expected to reach about a $10,000 mark this cycle, which actually would be a pretty small move in terms of its all-time high, how it raises from its previous all-time highs in the past. So it's pretty reasonable to expect that Ethereum will do more than a doubling from here. It'll do like a doubling and then some from here. Bitcoin is expected to get to 150,000 or so, something like that. But we're going to completely ignore that right now, and we're just going to look at the $147 million. Now, we know from previous videos that Marathon Digital, their Bitcoin holding, their treasury, is equal to about 20 some odd percent of their market cap. What is Bit Digital's digital assets worth compared to their market cap? 43%. So this is now making up 43% of their market cap, even though just their AI business as it stands makes up a huge chunk of their market cap. So it's almost as if the Bitcoin's not even being factored into the value of this company. And if you look at CleanSpark, if you remember from our last video regarding CleanSpark, their Bitcoin is equal to about 12% of their market cap. So this easily could be double or even quadruple what it currently is. So let's say, for just the sake of argument, that Bit Digital got valued compared to its peers, was valued fairly in terms of their current digital assets. Okay, so 21% is going to be a 4.76x if it just had the same valuation Mara has from its digital assets towards its balance sheet. If it had that same valuation for Bit Digital, okay, 4.7. All right, so we're going to times that by 147. I'm going to keep it a little bit lower. That's $700 million just off of the digital assets alone. That is it. Now, if you add that to the enterprise value just for the AI business and what they're expected to achieve based on the expectation that they will achieve the 100 million, we're looking at a $1.16 billion market cap for Bit Digital, which is significantly higher than it is currently valued. Now, if it got the benefit of the doubt and got the premium that CleanSpark is getting from their Bitcoin, so they're at 12%. So that would be an 8.3 times valuation from their digital assets, which in this case would be $1.2 billion in terms of their enterprise value, the market cap that they should have just from the Bitcoin. And if you add that to the AI business, you're looking at 1.6, more than $1.6 billion in valuation for this company. So let's add it. Plus 464.9, 1.1. Here we go. Let me get these on here just so we can see. Okay. these are the valuations. If this one would be if Mara, $1.164 billion, if it got the same valuation for its digital assets as Mara does, plus the AI side of the business. The second one here, this larger one, would be if Bit Digital got the same multiple from its digital assets that CleanSpark gets, plus the value of their AI business. And if we do that, divide it by 3.4 or 340, excuse me, their current value, their current market cap, $340 million, you're looking at a 4.97x from current price. Current price is $2.80. And we're looking at a 13.9, $13.91 Bit Digital share in best case scenario. All right. And if it got just the same valuation as Mara does for its Bitcoin and they valued their AI business properly, it'd be a 3.4x. So the other, let's do one more calculator here. I know I got so many calculators. This one, we'll put it down here so you can see them right next to each other. 2.8 times by 3.426, $9.59. So Bit Digital currently, in my opinion, is severely undervalued based on its Bitcoin treasury and its AI business. Um, I think they're being heavily undervalued. And I think that we could see it reach these valuations maybe even this year when Bitcoin finally breaks out of this channel it's been in and moves up again from here. So that's the case I've got for you for Bit Digital being undervalued currently based on its AI revenue that it's currently making and that it will be making in the future. And we're pretty sure it will execute on that since it already has done, it's already met its $50 million goal. Why won't it make its $100 million goal? There's no real reason to expect that. And then also based off of their Bitcoin holdings compared to some of their peers, some of the bigger players in the space, and how they're valued based off of their treasury and how Bit Digital is valued significantly lower based off of its treasury. All right, so let's move on to treasuries. Nice little transition there. This is the weekly actually. So TMF, this is the 3x leveraged 20-year bond. Now this thing has been, I've been talking about this occasionally for a while now, and it has been suffering. And the reason it's been suffering is because the Fed has not cut rates. It will not take off, like really take off until the Fed cuts rates. It is in a bit of a falling wedge that it broke out of and is trying to come back to the top of here. I am expecting it to fluctuate between 50 and like $44 to $43 until the Fed actually cuts rates. And I don't see that happening next week. Remember, next week is FOMC. All right, that is coming up. So today was the non-farm payroll, and it came out with more jobs than expected in May. In fact, a whole lot more. They expected 180,000 new jobs. They got 272,000 new jobs. Now, of course, we know that these numbers are manipulated, that we know that they are revised down heavily every single month, but every single month when this comes out and it comes out this much higher, especially a few days before the Fed meeting on Wednesday, they're absolutely not going to cut, which means TMF is going to suffer. It's down 5% off of that jobs number. That's why it's down this much right now. As a result, I expect TMF and the treasuries to continue to suffer unless the Fed surprises us on Wednesday. They come out super dovish, then we'll see some moves up. But like, I'm not very interested in this until they cut rates. And I also want to see price get above the 200-day moving average, which is right now at $52. We've been using this as the 200 has been used as resistance, honestly, since 2022, January 2022, we've been using it as resistance. We came up and tapped it from below in March 2023, again in June, and then again in December, and then once more in February, again in March, and then again just the other day. And it's been tightening now. The movement has been tightening. When this thing comes up and above the 200-day moving average again, this thing is going to be explosive. It very likely could be one of the best trades of 2025. But until the Fed gets dovish and the money starts flowing and getting cheaper, the treasuries aren't going to improve much. So that if you're in this thing, this is a long-term waiting game. This is not a short thing. This is going to be years in the making potentially, but when it goes, it's going to be a really good trade. It's just not there yet, as we're waiting for it to continue. All right, let's end the day doing a quick lightning round of some of our favorite Bitcoin miners. Let's take us to start with Bitfarms. Bitfarms is up at $2.51. We are still using the 5-day as support here. That is excellent to see. We're a little bit overbought, but we did come down a bit on the RSI. That's not so bad. I like that. Mara is up 0.34%. It's kind of just hanging out here. I actually really like this movement right now. It came decidedly off of this descending channel, and now it is falling a little bit, but as soon as we get back above 21.13, I'd be looking for it to quickly go up to $22. That'd be pretty great. Clean Spark is up 4.59%. That's amazing. I love that. I really want to see it get over $18 and then quickly flash up to like 1982, which is where this fib level is here, the 382. And I want to see it crush that and come right back up to cycle highs around 24, maybe even get over that in the July months, weeks, sorry, the weeks in July here, the month of July. Wow, that was a weird way of saying that. And just see it do that. It is a very similar sort of move that we saw back here in April. If you look, I mean, just look at the candles here. They're so similar in April that they are now, right? It came down, 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 slowly, burning, burning, burning. We got a long wick doji here and after an inverted hammer, and they just took off. So we came down, down, down. We've been coming down since May 23rd. We got a doji hammer, and then we're taking off a little bit. If next week we see this thing open up in like the 750 or higher and go over $18 in the first couple of days of next week, I'd be looking for this thing to be doing some really strong moves in the second to third week of June. That's what I'm looking at CleanSpark. Now what is going on here? We are right at the confluence of the 20 and 50-day moving averages. It has to close above that this week. It's got to close above $17 this week. Otherwise, this could end up being a failure, and we could see it come back down to 15. That's what's got to happen. See what's going on with Riot. Riot's been buying a whole lot more Bitfarms now. They own 12% now. So that's pretty exciting. But you can see that the volume oscillator here is coming up. We are in bull territory on the RSI as well. We are coming out of this descending wedge here. We are out of that wedge. Now we are stuck beneath the 50 moving average, which is right here at, well, I mean, we're right on it, 1021. We got to close above 1021, preferably or above 1025 in order for me to feel good about next week, potentially coming up to the 200-day moving average up at $11. Okay, that's what let's see. We do that, I'll be very happy. We conquer the 200-day moving average. I'd be looking at a move up into the high teens on Riot. That'd be great. Let's see what's going on with IREN. That thing's been taken off, and it is still taking off. It's up another 6.5% today. That is insane. I thought for sure, I mean, I did think this was a bull flag, but I thought for sure it was going to touch the 20 before launching like this, but it did not. It just took off. That is insane. It is really got nothing in its way right now. It came right up, yeah, right up to 11. So if it gets over $11, there's nothing in its way up to 1263 on IREN. This thing is crushing it. I'm going to be waiting for a pullback on this thing before I'm in it, but I am looking at it as a new addition to my miner holdings. I was listening to what their CEO had to say, some of the philosophy of the company, and I am feeling, I'm feeling the IREN now that I've been, spending more time looking at it. So that's great. Let's take a look at Core Scientific. Core Z, what you doing? Core Z is on a tear. It's so far detached from all of the SMAs. It is insane. The 5 days all the way down at 683. Congratulations if you're in this thing. I know I was skeptical of this back here when it was trading around $3-4. Honestly, it's because of the very little history to it. I don't trust things without a lot of history. Also, the bankruptcy in the past kind of threw me a bit on that, and the high debt load. But obviously they're doing something right, and they're really, really doing well and crushing it. Now, again, this is a runaway train. I'm not chasing it. This thing is just absolutely straight up, and that scares me personally. So I would be waiting for it to at least come back to the 5. You do you. If you're making money on this thing, congratulations. You're doing fantastically. That is awesome. Let's take a look at the Cypher warrants. Cipher warrants, what are they doing here? $1.04. It is just getting absolutely compressed down here. It is getting into this wedge. This falling wedge is getting wedgier and wedgier as it goes down and down and down and down. Once it breaks out of this thing, though, it's going to be a pretty solid move. That'll be pretty exciting. So that's the miners. That's all I got for you today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.